Hi, and welcome back to the Doodle Diaries. Tonight's doodle is going to be a little moonlit path with lanterns and stars and maybe some moths. And I'm going to make it windy here. Because it feels pretty appropriate for tonight's topic. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of things have been happening lately that make me realize how strange adulthood really is. When we're younger, we are set up with these expectations, I feel, of a timeline of how things are supposed to go. And the reason why I made this path windy is because I don't know about you, but I feel like there was this expectation that the path is straight, it's very linear, it's very smooth, and there are few, if any, detours. And I think depending on what age you are, you learn pretty quickly that that expectation is far from the truth. I like the idea of these little rocks along the pathway because some might trip you up, some might make you stumble. It may be hard to walk on the rocky path. You may need to sit and take a break. In fact, I'm going to draw right here a little something to help those of us who feel the need to just have a little seat, a little rest along that path of life. So, again, I've shared this in previous videos, and I'll just share again. In this AI landscape, I think it's pretty clear that not only are my drawings very real, so is my voice, and so there are going to be imperfections, and there are going to be the exception than the rule to find that phase of life very early on. And I think, honestly, it's it's an expression that is used a lot and very truthfully. I think it pretty much encompasses what we're talking about tonight, which is life happens. And life happens sometimes in very difficult ways. And we might enter a season of life that requires nothing more of us than survival. And that season could mean that you're dealing with fear. Maybe you're dealing with caregiving. For some, it might be childcare and caregiving. There might be illness. There could be heartbreak. There could be burnout. And those are just a few of the things that may come up, sadly, that we don't always get prepared for until we're having to deal with it. So, again, I share this path, this windy path. We'll put our moon up here to demonstrate that this expectation of life being a straight line and unfolding exactly how we have planned is truly a fallacy that I think is hurting a lot of us, unfortunately. Because again, if we look at the devices in our hands, we're just seeing highlight reels all the time. We're seeing people build businesses, traveling, renovating, waking up at sunrise, and running a marathon. And again, I applaud all those who are in a season of life where that is possible. But I just want to bring some truth to the fact that this is not the case for anyone, or rather for everyone, by a long stretch. Some of us are going to have a bit windier of a path, and we might go a bit more slowly, and we might find ourselves sitting here quietly at night thinking about exactly that. So my hope is that this video and this conversation might help someone out there who maybe feels like they're alone and just needed to have this, hopefully it finds somebody at just the right time who's wondering why things aren't going as planned. And maybe this video will shed a bit of light. That is my attempt at a lantern, shining some light on this rocky, windy path of life. So I guess the question is, when you take some rest, and I hope you do, the hardest part is, of course, to get going again. And I think beginning again is such a brave thing. Even something as small as starting this YouTube channel after years of hiding creatively can feel very terrifying. Some people may need to take a lot of time to take a break and rest and heal and recover from a season of survival before starting again. But the idea is that you definitely start again when you feel ready, even if they're teeny, tiny movements, tiny choices, tiny moments, tiny sparks of returning. So again, if you find that you're not exactly where you wanted to be in life, it's not a failure at all. But I hope you take the time to pause and reflect on what you truly want, what fuels your soul, what you need. If you need rest, rest. If you need creativity, create. Find that thing that sparks your soul. And just know that the healing and rebuilding can be very quiet and, again, take some time. It's not going to be a dramatic movie montage. It's not going to be as much as some of us wish it is, and that's myself included. It's not going to be an overnight transformation. It may even just be as simple as some moonlit doodles at midnight. I'll finish this last little tree here. So again, if you've ever felt behind in life, I hope you know that you're definitely not alone. I know that feeling, and a big reason why I started Doodle Diaries was to push through it and find a way forward out of this season of survival. If this message, I don't know if it resonated with you, I hope you'll hit the like button or subscribe or both. But that's all I have for tonight. Thanks so much for joining me. I wish you gentle days ahead. And until next time, take care.